Hey, thank you so much for having me here at ClickHouse Open House. I am Trevor Preston, that's what it says on the tin. I wanted to talk to you about networks and about observability. I think a lot of my lessons here are going to be very similar to what's been said in our previous talks by Mark and I don't know if I've got the clicker somewhere. Slide control. What's this one? Oh, the green, cool. Awesome, sorry, bit of technical difficulties. Let's go through. Nope. Can someone from ClickHouse help me? Somebody. Tyler. Is it this thing?
Yeah, that should be it.
Oh, cool.
The green button.
The green button?
The big green button. Laser pointer. The one.
Oh, that one? Okay, cool. Awesome. Sorry about that, guys. Still not checked. There we go. Perfect. The lovely blue Xero logo. All right, I am from Wellington, New Zealand, so I love coffee just as much as you all do. Maybe not as much as the people that are still outside having coffee, but I want to talk about network observability. Please don't run outside. I know networking's one of those topics that we tend to not want to talk about too much. It's often the elephant in the room. It's often the hardest thing for developers or engineers to get their heads around. So I want to start telling you a little bit about Xero. You've probably already heard about Xero, I hope so. We've got 4.9 million customers, and that's 4.9 reasons to be available. If we're down, if we've got an outage, it means that people may not get paid, it means that people may not be able to pay their taxes, and it means that small businesses may fail. And so observability and reliability is incredibly important to us. It takes a lot to run good software. I've got a couple of metrics here, over 750 AWS accounts, 10,000 instances, 1,800 deployments, but that's a lot for developers to think about, right? We've got 55 bins, which is, I think I've got a bit of a conspiracy that it takes at least a good proportion of bins to run stuff. You need a high level of Benergy for that to work. But ultimately, it's a lot to run, it's a lot to think about, and your developers don't think about the network, right? That's the last thing on their mind. They've got higher level things to care about. When I first started thinking about cloud networking, I thought it was going to be really simple. I thought it was going to be a couple of instances, you'd have a flat network, it would just work, things would not get in the way, it would be super easy, right? That's never the case. As soon as you start introducing complexity, to a developer, it can almost be like there's dragons in the network, there's lasers, or because we're in Australia, there's drop bears, right? That's the worst one that's the worst one in your network, and I think that's in most of our networks today. So why is networking so hard? If we look at the complexities of an enterprise organization, you start bringing in security. And so there's a crazy diagram on the left, which is how you inject a checkpoint firewall, in this case, into your network so that you can do traffic inspection. And on the right is a really genuine truth table of various parts of our network that are either allowed to talk and not allowed to talk, or have some level of inspection between them. And that's a lot for us within a platform team, let alone for a developer to understand, right? And I mentioned before, Benergy, we've got great Benergy within my platform team, and they've spent a lot of effort to simplify and reduce the complexities of that network. And so you can see on the left a lovely diagram with AWS's Cloud WAN, which reduces transit gateways from something like 25 crazy setup things that I was tearing my hair out many times to understand, to something relatively simple, but it's still quite complex. We've got on the right levels of self-service. We've abstracted networking to the point that it's a JSON blob that defines your VPC in your environment, but it's still so much for your developers to understand. That truth table doesn't go away. And so the drop bears are still in your network. It's still going to be a challenge for you. And so that leads us on to, if we can't simplify and we can't reduce the burden of complexity as developers, then we need to be able to see what's within that box. We need to be able to be more observable, we need to be able to be more understandable, and we need to be less of a black box. So I've got a number of network observability goals that we care about, and these are ones that we started thinking about when we moved into ClickHouse. The first one is being able to reduce the time to be proven innocent. And if you've been in a platform team, the amount of times that a developer comes to you and they say, my app doesn't work. And you're like, okay, what am I meant to do with that? That's some hard stuff, especially at 2 a.m. Where you might be frazzled yourself. And it's a real challenge. But one of the things that we know within cloud networking is that often it's not the network. In fact, I would say 99% of the time, it's not the network. Your cloud vendors, your Amazons, your Azures, your GCPs, they do a really good job at running cloud infrastructure. And so within a platform team, within your networks team, what we're actually trying to do most of the time is understand what is the challenge that this application has, what is the actual issue, and how do I make it so it's not my problem, but not to reduce it from being my problem, but to make it that the developer is able to go and actually find the root cause. If they spend all their time staring at the network, they don't have time to be able to invest in the actual issue. And so that leads us to a couple of pieces of data that we can use to understand that network a bit more. The first one is VPC flow logs. So flow logs are logs that give us detail around the traffic moving within our network. They're very verbose. They can be more verbose. They can have things like TCP details within them of your flags. But effectively, that is a golden piece of material. It tells us what's connecting, what isn't connecting. And just to give you an example of where this might be useful, where you're trying to, going back to the previous one, you're trying to disprove an issue, is that if you're on, say, a containerized workload, it might be CPU throttled, it's going to look like it can't connect, but it's never actually sending packets. And so these flow logs tell us what actually happened within the network. It tells us what's going, it's that truth, the genuine truth in our network. Now, this is really hard to put into a database, right? Like, this is a lot of data. If you look at a company like Xero, 4.9 million customers, you can only imagine the amount of flow logs going on within our network, especially when you're talking between different services. But with ClickHouse and ClickStack, it's really easy to ingest that data, and it's really easy to make these lovely dashboards. I know we all love dashboards. I know there was a comment earlier that they might be going away. I don't think they're going away. I think we're still going to have them. But yeah, we can use ClickPipes, put it in S3, pull that into ClickStack, and we get easy access to this data. The other one, which is one that you heard from 9, is our CDN delivery logs. Now, CDNs are really valuable to us, and one thing that I've learned from developers is that often they don't actually think about their customer. They think about the workload within the service. They think about what happens when it's within our perimeter. And so you won't necessarily get that empathy of your customer. You won't necessarily understand what sort of experiences are your customers having. And so these CDN delivery logs are just gold to us. An example of where I've seen issues before that we couldn't see if we were looking just within our network is where the CDN provider actually created latency. They introduced a security bug fix that was a workaround for some obscure security case that we didn't have. But if you weren't looking at the performance from your user's perspective, you'd never notice it. And so your users are suffering without you being able to understand it. And again, once we add this data into ClickStack, we can have beautiful visualizations and be on our merry way. Now, the second observability goal is one that just kicks you in the teeth, which is, how do I answer these simple questions? It's amazing in tech where a question can sound simple, but is incredibly hard to actually answer. And I had this one asked to me a number of weeks ago, which is, how are our traffic patterns changing over time? What's different now versus a year ago? What does that look like? And we know through our use of any observability tool, I'm sure you've all been there, where if we actually go to try to pull that level of data in to a dashboard or to a visualization, that it's going to be incredibly slow. It's probably going to fall over. We're going to run out of memory. And so one of the fantastic things that ClickHouse gives us is that because it is a database platform first, it gives us the features of that database platform that is wrapped around observability. And so in this case, and I know we mentioned this before in the 9 presentation, but we've got materialized views. And what that does, I know there's probably a bunch of database experts here, but if there's people that are more like me that may not have had the same level of experience in traditional database concepts, materialized views allow us to do transformations when data is brought into the database. And so when we go back to the CDN workflow, we can do things like aggregate metrics over time. We can say that for traffic coming in. What is that P95, P99 percentage on an hour bucket, on a day bucket? And then when we're doing these queries that might need to span months or even years in some cases, then we can use these aggregated data points and be able to actually report on that really fast. Now, I'm going to try and do a demo. Obviously, I haven't been particularly lucky with the tech so far. I don't know how buttons work. Sorry, they don't work the same way over in New Zealand. But just give me 2 seconds to plug in. And what I'm going to show you is some of the dashboarding type experiences, the AI that has been brought in from ClickHouse, but also just to talk to some of the experiences that developers have. Can we switch over to the screen? Thank you. Cool, so this is our ClickStack setup. This is our genuine one. I think often when we're looking at demos from vendors, I tend to not trust them. I don't know how everyone else feels in the room. I'm like, is that real? What's the data you've got behind the scenes? So I wanted to show you a genuine experience. And so I'll just go click on, let's say just click on this Akamai CDM one, and we'll just load that in a tab. I've got no internet. I'm a silly boy. That's all right. I pulled it up earlier to make sure that it was good. But easy connections. One of the things that's really valuable about ClickHouse is that actually it loads really fast. I wanted to show you that, but obviously I'm not going to be able to because I forgot to join the Wi-Fi. That's fine. Moving on, I also wanted to talk about the dashboarding experience. And so one of the great things that I really like is I'm not a huge fan of writing SQL, of being able to actually craft these really nice dashboards. I know there's a lot of people that are huge Grafana nuts, and they spend hours crafting the perfect query in Grafana connected to your Prometheus backend and those sort of things. But that's never been me, right? I want to care about the outcome. I want to care about what's the data, what's the visualization, and what's the thing that's going to give me the piece of knowledge that I need to be able to answer this question. And so here's an example where I've asked the AI from the lovely ClickStack people, make me a dashboard for golden signals for invoicing.xero.com. And it goes through, figures out our schemas behind the scenes, doesn't ask me any follow-up questions, which is good because I didn't want it to. And it goes and creates that dashboard. And I can click into here, and you can see that the dashboard's created and it works out of the tin. And this is great because it means that we can give this to our developers, we can give this to the people that care about their customers, and they can create dashboards that are specific to their experiences. They can create things to be able to understand what their customers are actually experiencing in the real world and really get a level of empathy towards their customers. I will show one more thing, which again is the MCP thing. I know we had Mike talk a little bit about the ClickHouse MCP earlier, so I wanted to show an experience of what that actually looks like. I've got that connected here, and you can see I can ask for the P99 for one of our domains. Claude, who is my favorite friend now, apart from when he's finding the smoking guns, which are not smoking half the time, is able to go through and actually fetch it directly from our ClickHouse. And I think what this is going to give us is the ability to drive those agentic workflows where we can plug the data in, we can give Claude our experiences that we want to be able to create and get it to troubleshoot and iterate over those experiences. And so I'm really stoked with the MCP and the quality of service that we're seeing from this. Can we flick back to the slides, please? Huzzah. Cool. So I wanted to go on to the next network observability goal, and this is the most important one, which is the juice worth the squeeze? Now, we looked at, there was a presentation from Mike earlier that showed the cost of various observability vendors and what that looked like. And we went down these exact same paths before as well. We looked at the VPC flow logs. We looked at, are we going to be able to get rich insights? Are we going to be able to understand our customer? Are we going to be able to bring these experiences into incidents, into the experiences of developers, and all those sort of things? And then we looked at the cost. And the cost told us the answer was no. We quoted through some vendors in the past, and we were looking at upwards of 150,000 US a month to be able to bring in the level of data that we wanted to bring in, which is effectively those VPC flow logs, those CDN logs, and not really do any sampling because we want as much raw data as possible to be able to understand our developer experiences. And so this is my hero slide, which is our ratio running on our existing ClickHouse setup, which is hitting 22 times. And I don't want to speak too loudly because the ClickHouse team will hear, but we ended up going through our quoting space to understand what our contracts would look like under ClickHouse. And it turned out that we actually ended up going under budget, and we're finding more and more use cases to put into this platform, and it just keeps ticking. I think a 22x ratio for VPC flow logs is quite incredible, and we see very similar for our CDN capability as well. And so this means that we're not only able to store all this data, but we're able to get it back when it matters. We're able to get it back in incidents. We're able to give this to our developers, and we're able to deliver on those experiences of trying to keep our platform alive, trying to keep the platform available, and ultimately allowing our developers to see what's inside of that network. But going back to the black box, being able to see what's going on within the environment with the drop bears that they haven't been able to see before. All right, that's a little bit from me. Hey, thank you so much for your time. As I said, I work at Xero. We're actually hiring within the Sydney region as well as Melbourne. I'm sure there's a few people that have been come over from here. If you are interested in working with us, we'd love you to go onto xero.com/careers. Always looking for great engineers, great people. And thank you so much.